Okay, I'm going to try one more time on my old phone and then Bluetooth it over to my other one. I keep trying to make a video and it keeps cutting out on me, saying I have no space to do it on my phone, and yet I have deleted the previous videos, so there should be space. Anyway, good morning, I'm back. Yesterday I talked about being ready for things that might come our way, whatever those things might be, and I listed a couple of the excuses that people use to not prep. But I thought I might talk today more about what I mean by being ready. I think one of the very first things is that we need to get rid of some stereotypes. If I said the word survivalist to you, for instance, we're going to have images in our head of guys in full military kit carrying AR-15s running through the forest trying to protect their private enclave from the zombie hordes. Other people have an idea that preppers are hoarders with food and toilet paper stacked to the rafters. Others look at preppers as, oh, they've got the all natural garden and they use herbs and natural medicine and eat tofu and wheatgrass sprouts. One other image that people can have sometimes is of the guy living in his mother's basement on the computer until all hours of the night, trying to overanalyze every conspiracy theory he can find. So that is maybe a part of prepping, a little bit, and I'll explain it in other things, other videos, but there are other words that we can use instead of prepper or survivalist. Prepper's still not a bad word. I talk about preparedness a lot. Other people do homesteading or prepsteading. There's a branch called urban prepping for people that live in cities and don't have a lot of space. It's a little hard to keep chickens in your living room. At any rate, most people think about survivalism or prepping as the physical aspects of it. The food, water, shelter, means of self-defense, medicine and everything you'd need to survive for, say 3 to 7 years until the bad times go by or the end of the world comes, whichever comes first. Too many people see prepping as fear-mongering. You're just making everybody afraid that every little thing's going to happen to them and it's all going to go bad. And the idea is so that when things do go wrong, because let's face it, stuff happens, that you're ready for it. You don't have to be afraid because, I'm ready for this. I've got what I need. That means that I have the ability to maybe go out and help somebody else. To me, that means prepping is a fear preventative. Okay, so prepping has its place. The other thing that people think about is that it's always a big disaster because we're used to the movies. It's the volcano or the earth ending, the asteroid, the flooding, the ice age, tornadoes, hurricanes, nuclear accidents, and aliens. Truthfully, and we can't forget the zombie hordes. Truth is, though, most events are over in a couple of weeks. So if you can have even just a couple of weeks worth of food in your house or a month to get past an emergency until until it's either done with and you can go back to doing things as normal, or you've found alternative sources for your food, water, etc. That would be of more help than trying to get a whole year's worth of supply in and running yourself short on money for daily living. The other thing, the last thing I guess is the other thing. I'm always saying the other thing. a lot of people in prepping circles, they do that. You know, oh, you got to have a year's worth, or 2 years, or 3 or 7 years worth of food on hand. Why 7? They stop at 7 for some reason. I think it's because in the Bible story with Joseph and the famine in Egypt, he recommended to Pharaoh that they store up all of the extra seed from 7 good years, put it in granaries to use during the 7 bad years. And I think that's where that comes from. I will say this though, our current events might require just a little bit more. And I'm going to say several months. I would like to think that by the end of summer, things are going to be done with, but I don't know that. Nobody knows that. I know that certainly that official agencies and things like that are considering the possibilities that things could continue for a couple of years, and that means that we need to be ready. I'm not saying that we'd have to have all the food we need for those several years in our home, but to have something that gets us past the bad times, because they're talking about it cycling. You know, like right now it's things are opening up and things like that, but with the riots, they might close back down because the second wave comes in and it might be worse than the first, because people haven't been social distancing. I think that's what we're going to hear. So having more on hand is good, but I don't want you to think that you have to go out and buy a year or two's worth of food, a year or two years worth of food, in order to be ready for this, because we don't know exactly, and buying it all at once like that, it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to get a loan so you can buy it? Are you going to use your credit card so that you can get that in all at once? It is much easier and much better if every time you go to the store you buy a couple of extra things. Maybe set aside $5 extra. Every time you go to the store you're going to get something else. And I would concentrate on the proteins. Beans, proteins and vegetables I should say. So beans, canned vegetables, rice, as long as it's real rice, things like that are going to do you better than a lot of pre-prepared foods and things like that you everybody loves pizza, but seriously, it doesn't store that well. If you have a freezer or the freezer space, you might be able to do that. And if you do have a freezer, I would say buy up on the inexpensive cuts of meat, the things that you will eat, not just anything just for the sake of having it, but the things that you will eat are what you need to store up on. There is a lot more, therefore, to prepping. You have to be ready in your heart and in your mind to prep, because a lot of people, it's almost like they need permission to prep. It's okay to prep. Get things ready for your family. It's a protection. We need 3 things to survive in life. It's food and water, shelter, and safety. So if you have food and water and shelter and you're relatively safe, you can survive almost anything. Take away any one of those things and it gets harder to survive. So you want to be able, in being ready, not just to have the physical things, but to have skills, learn how to do new things, learn how to do things that you can trade for food or for clothing or whatever you might need. So like I said, there's a lot more to prepping than hiding in the forest waiting for the zombie hordes to pass you by. I will say that you might argue that right now we have some zombie hordes. most of you explained the mindless violence, which, by the way, if the zombie hordes are in your city, don't go where they are. I said in the first video that demonstrators that are generally otherwise peaceful can quickly get caught up in the actions of these people. So stay away from areas that are targeted. Use other means of protest. Take to your social media. Write to your legislators and governor and your mayor and your city authorities. Email them, whatever it takes. Just stay safe. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and please share it with others. I would like to get my message out to as many people as possible to help them in this time, because it's scary right now for a lot of people. So till tomorrow, watch around you, be aware, be ready. Remember, mind as well as body. Be ready, be safe, and be blessed.